Gonna go back in time.
And what a time
Machine. Hi, I'm Rick Glassman from Rick and Esther Have a Time Machine in New York. And today my co-host is...
Esther POVITSKY. That's me. I'm her.
I come to New York often. Arms are tired. And I love going to shows. I love musicals. Never once... Not only have I not thought about going to the Back to the Future musical, I didn't even know there was a Back to the Future musical.
Well, that is why you need a friend like me who studies religiously what plays, what musicals, what's going on Broadway. Like, I know when and where, and this one...
You told me it was at 7 and it was at 8.
Okay, well, there's some logistical...
And you had me send you the address of the theater.
There's some logistical details that I didn't quite fully have, but...
Well, you know what? If you want to just... go back in time, machine.
Okay, though, can we really talk about this? Yeah. Because musicals based on movies, it's a tougher.
I haven't seen yet, and I want to, but I do hear the Sister Act musical is very good.
I have not seen that either. I saw the Wedding Singer musical, but I hadn't seen the movie, so that was a weird. I have no perspective.
I bet you. Out of just the sample of people that have seen the Wedding Singer musical, you are 1 in 1,000.
I agree. I have this talent.
That has not seen the movie.
Yes.
I mean, the ultimate Julia Gulia.
I've also only seen White Lotus season 2.
I haven't seen any of the White Lotus.
You should do it Esther style and just season 2 it.
But one of the actors...
Opa Esther style.
Are you doing a Gangnam Style thing? One of the actors from season 2 of White Lotus, oddly, during an episode of my podcast, came in to get a drink and left. It was weird.
Some of these guys were in the mafia. I forgot their names. I forgot their names.
Hi. Oh, hi.
Thank you.
Sorry, I forgot.
It's okay. Thanks. Hi. Go on.
All right. Anyway.
Would you hold them or put them off the rug? Go ahead.
Anyways.
Oh my God, can I just
have I forgot his name. Anyways, and so Benny had to go and get a ride.
How? What does that mean?
I think he got a lawyer. I don't know. He just got her out. He went wherever he was. I don't know, jail, and he paid money for her and got her out.
What was you and Grandpa? What was the story with in Cuba?
What do you like? It's just such a weird brag that like makes no sense and like disrupts the whole flow of the conversation.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like when someone's
don't.
Like, okay, I'll explain it. Like if we're talking and someone's like, I know that actor, or you're like, my mom knew that. You're like, what? Why do we? Okay, we're like talking. Okay. So, anyways,
you just
what?
You just deflate other people. And the thing is, and I think it's not because of insecurity. I think you're so deflated that you're like, other people want to be shut down and not include their thing.
Deflated.
The clip.
Yes, yeah, so you can't go back because you deflated yourself.
It's funny because there was this other actor that came in during that same episode.
I mean, seriously, you didn't know?
Grandma, you think I know girls that look like that?
Oh my! Where'd she?
Oh my God!
Who's this?
Jesus.
Oh hey, got a margarita?
Yeah, I could get that going for you.
How's the action tonight?
Oh, not too bad.
Hi.
What's up?
Anyways, we were talking about movie
They were just trying to
musicals.
buy a drink. I just had a bar. My grandma was the guest. I had a bar. I put on my Insta story if people want to come for a drink. I didn't know people would show up, and they just did. It's
Okay,
wild.
if that's true, which it's feeling like it's not, that would
It's
be
true.
cool. Okay,
I'll show you the video that my grandma said to invite
I've
people.
seen enough videos today.
Grandma, will you say welcome to Take Your Shoes Off podcast? Stop on in for a drink.
Hey, welcome to Shoes Off Podcast. Come in for a lovely drink served by Mr. Daniel.
It's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna post that now, and maybe we could get some bites.
So anyways, I thought what was really interesting and what actually really worked about the Back to the Future musical is the way that they really did honor and copy the movie. And I know that would seem annoying, but the movie to me is so special.
As opposed to what? Them like not doing quotes and things from the movie? They would have to.
Well, no, you could take that IP and that story and completely reimagine it and do like a completely new, different version of Back to the Future.
Like make a Back to the Future 4.
No, like you could completely start over. They do this literally all the time in movies.
But that happens on Broadway. Like when they adapt a movie onto Broadway, isn't it always honoring the movie? I can't imagine there's ever been a time where it wasn't that.
Okay, well, I can give you a similar thing where, okay, so jukebox musicals, for example, the Elvis jukebox musical, All Shook Up, you go into that, it's all Elvis's music, but there's nothing to do with Elvis. There's no Elvis storyline. It's just the music telling a different story. And so you can get really creative when you're doing when we do our Broadway musical, like you can do anything you want. You can reimagine stories.
If Back to the Future, the musical comes out and it wasn't from the Back to the Future movie, people would lose their minds.
You think that, but maybe that would actually be even better because some people who love the movie are like, you can't even touch the movie. They're like, just give us a new version of it's like a movie remake, right? If you remake, sure, you could do the whole where Gus Van Sant remade Psycho and it was exact replica.
A movie remake, a new origins, a reimagining of a story. Even those, like even all the Spider-Mans, Peter Parker was bit by a spider. I mean, they're not going to change.
Exactly. They could still do that, but not have references. Like the costumes could be different. It could be Marty McFly could be completely different from a different background. Like there could be
black, like what they did in Hamilton, and look how that turned out.
Yeah, but even I'm just saying, like he could live in New York City. Oh, something's wrong with your face again.
Sorry. I was trying to let you see your reflection.
I do think that I liked what they did, and especially
set design. Never seen something so cool on stage.
That was really cool.
Felt like a Disneyland ride.
They clearly put a lot of money. The investors.
Well, I should say Universal Studios, with all due respect. It's
favorite ride. Did you go on that as a kid? The Back to the Future ride?
No, I just know it's a Universal picture. What I don't remember Back to the Future ride. Universal Studios? I've been to Universal Studios numerous times as a kid. What was the ride like?
Okay, so have you been on the Simpsons ride?
No.
Currently?
No.
Okay, well, they redid the Back to the Future as a Simpsons ride. It was the one where you like get in a car and then there's like a screen and then it was like the perfect ride for kids who are scared.
Vaguely remember that.
It's mostly about how the screen moves and then you just kind of move in your seat.
I like that you remember something from when you were a kid.
Thank you.
Yeah, those Disneyland has Soarin'. Do you know that ride? It used to be Soarin' over California, and now it's Soarin' over the world.
Yeah.
That's my favorite ride. I think in both parks, they lift you up, your feet are dangling, and it's like this it's like a half dome. And when you're flying through things, they even spray smells of like what the desert and the ocean would be like.
Yes, they spray a smell on the Simpsons ride. They spray like a baby powder smell when you like go near Lisa. But okay, so I actually did the Soarin' over California, the world thing,
Yeah.
and I have to say, going to Disneyland as an adult, or Disney World for that matter, it's really dark.
I have a different take, but I'm interested. Do you go ahead.
I hadn't gone since I was a child. And I went with Dave and my mom. And we were...
Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dave. And Dave and I were just sort of like kind of looking at each other like, So this is what Disney adults do. Like, this is not like, what is this? It's just
what a bummer.
I agree. And I do think if I had gone with friends and maybe not my mom, it could be different. But
I go with my mom once a year.
you do.
I love going with my mom. I went a couple weeks ago with my mom, my dad, Amir, Dave Sullivan, Brent Morin.
I saw the
my cousin.
IG stories. I a little bit had FOMO, but a little bit didn't.
Also, because I'm on an ABC show, which is Disney.
Yes.
They give you that
That
thing.
is obviously how I went as well. I was also on a
So wait, so you went and you didn't have to wait in lines. You had the tour guide and you didn't have a good time. Also, they give you up to 10 tickets and you went with 3 people.
I think we had 4 tickets when I went.
Oh, they gave me 10. I guess it was just a different show.
I probably only asked for the 3.
No, they say up to 10. I didn't ask.
Yeah.
They say take 10 tickets.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was also on a Disney-owned show.
Maybe because it was streaming, they only gave you 4.
I don't think the streaming. I think
Maybe you want to
streaming
edit
is
that out.
good.
That's embarrassing.
I'm actually perfectly comfortable.
Oh,
even though
you look it. Cut to her single. I love it. Disneyland and Vegas have something in common, which is it's the group you go with.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Are you laughing while you're walking to the place? Are you getting the corn dogs? Are you enjoying the rides that are great? Are you laughing about the rides that are like, what the fuck was this? The Winnie the Pooh ride, for example. What is that? I'll go on it.
It may have been that I used to really like get stressed out when I was around my mom and Dave at the same time. And I still do. And we've talked about this. Like, I have a hard time being myself in different situations. Like with you, I feel... Are you asleep?
Sorry. No, I was saying like I was connecting to you telling me
when
this.
I am with you, I do feel very much myself, mostly because like I just don't care about your feelings, so I can feel free to like.
That's not real.
Well, then what am I trying to say? Because there is something that
I think I know. You'll have to guide me if I'm wrong or this, but you don't feel comfortable being yourself in different groups because you want to be seen a certain way by them.
That's not true at all. Wait,
What?
Is it?
Well, you said when you're hanging out with Dave and his writer friends.
Oh, I feel myself, but I do try to not.
You said you tone it down.
I do try to tone it down, but I'm
Because if you don't turn it down, they tone it down. They will see you as what?
as an annoying actress, the worst possible way to be viewed in Hollywood.
You're changing your behavior in a way to have other people see you the way you want them to. Or
Okay.
not see you the way you don't want them to. Same thing.
There is some truth to that, but I think it's less about like chameleoning and like trying to be something I'm not, although that is a little bit of play. It's more like, it's not like I'm consciously doing it. It's more I am insecure or like shy or don't want to be rude. Whereas with you, I don't feel like I can be rude. Like I don't care. I feel comfortable to be myself with you.
Let's try and talk on this with real vulnerability here.
Fine.
You maybe feel insecure / shy, etc.
Yeah.
I think an insecure is a great place to lean into.
Okay.
Because not secure in them seeing you as something that, first of all, it's not right or wrong. You are judging this type. Actress,
yes.
Hollywood.
Annoying.
Right.
Yes.
Which there are actresses that are not annoying. There are actresses and actors that are. But you see the negative side of it and you don't want to be that.
Yeah.
Maybe you feel part of you is that and you don't like
For
that.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So instead of changing the behaviors of the things of yourself that you don't like, the things that you can't even change, whatever those might be, because I do not see you as that. So I don't agree with your negative view on how you're being perceived. However, change it. And if not, why not show that thing to these people and give them the opportunity to decide, I like this Esther or I don't. And if they don't, you don't be friends with them anymore.
Because I'll answer that. That's a good question. Because I really do. And I wonder if you have this too, where I struggle with, I feel like I have 2 social modes. One is fully myself, fully engaging, fully being quote unquote like my most
Present.
annoying version of myself.
Mean. That's mean. That's not the most annoying version of yourself.
Okay, agree. Okay, so there's...
So what is it? Define it differently.
Like...
Freest version of yourself? Doing what you want, saying what you want, being engaged with what you want to be engaged with, disassociating what you don't want to be engaged with.
But honestly, though, then it's like center of attention, like taking all the, like, literally the ideal. Okay, so wait, let me just, that's one category, and we can relabel it, whatever. The other one is like, I love to just sit back.
Yeah, being in the audience.
And listen and be around really funny
Same.
people. Like, if I was on the Disney World trip with you and your friends, or Disneyland, like, I would love to just, like, be there, be a body there, and, like, laugh around you guys. Although with that group, I could be comfortable to do both.
But you would, you would laugh and you would enjoy, and then you would have the opportunity to pop and shine in your moments, and then go. What I love so much about improv and being in groups as opposed to stand up or just one-on-one is you get to kind of just show up when you have a thing and then dip back out. And then sometimes you ride that wave and it is annoying or too much. I'm speaking for myself. But, like, are you accepted in this group that you're with? And that's ultimately what it comes to. I don't think it's that you don't care how I feel about you. I'm sure that if I felt a certain way about you, it wouldn't necessarily affect you chemically. But, like, I believe that you feel seen with me and accepted.
Yeah, accepted.
So here's a great analogy. When Family Guy and 30 Rock works for either of these shows, they have so many jokes that when one doesn't work, I don't think it's not funny anymore. Who cares? On to the next.
Yeah.
Like, if you miss or if you bomb or if you're mean or whatever, it's like, that's not going to change the way Rick sees me because he knows me. And the reason I know you is twofold. One, time. I've been around you for 12, 13, 14 years.
Have a time.
And two, I've seen you because you haven't hid and masked. And it's like, wait, that's which Esther is, because you gifted me the opportunity to choose whether or not I like you and your energy, for right or wrong. And I chose I do like you. So now, great. How easy for you to be able to show up. But when you don't show up for other people authentically, first of all, they might not like that. Those people might think, she's kind of boring or dull or not engaged or what's going on. Not seeing the strength of yours that could shine because you're not allowing them because of an insecurity, no judgment. No,
okay, but don't you think it's actually quite normal that, like, if
use the word typical instead of normal? I could tell you why, but I have a strong stance on that.
Why? Strong stance. No. Can I continue the sentence with normal and then you tell me why if it didn't work later?
It doesn't, but go.
Okay. I think it's quite normal and typical and common for people to, when they're in a newer group, to sort of go into that category I'm talking about where I'm, like, not gonna...
Yes, reserved.
Yeah, like, even just picturing, like, a Hollywood writer's room.
Wow.
Exactly. And, like, 6 of the people there were from season 1 and now we're on season 2 and now there's someone who's there for the first time. It's like that person is not going to be as like vocal in that room, and they kind of shouldn't be.
Understood.
So I feel like that's kind of like everyone has to go through a little bit of shyness to get.
Well, no, they don't have to,
okay.
But I understand the reason. The reason I say I like typical instead of normal is a comparison and a judgment, because something else that's not normal and that's kind of stigmatized as that's not a normal behavior, whereas typical is just statistically.
So you think atypical is better than being not normal?
Typical is a statistic. Typical is most of the time.
Again, you think being called atypical is different than being called not normal.
But you're not being called something. It's about the personality. It's you're talking about the psychology. It's typical for people to come into a situation and try and warm up before they really come out. It's normal. Normal means you should do it. Typical is like what's normally done. There's a difference.
Okay, but so answer the question. Is it worse to be called not normal than it is to be called atypical?
Again, worse is a judgment. I'm just saying it's not as accurate. Normally done is different than a normal person.
Okay, I do understand what you're saying.
You are not meeting Dave's writer's friends for the first or second time.
No, this is a newer group.
How many times have you been with them?
Maybe we've had like 4 or 5 hangs.
At that point, where's Esther?
Quiet, eating a yogurt bowl.
No, where's Esther? Because that's not Esther. Esther's loud eating a yogurt bowl. I don't think I did a good job explaining, and maybe that's because you didn't understand, but that's also on me, this typical versus normal thing.
No, I get it.
You don't have to shoo me off. If I have a take on something, allow me to be able to speak on it.
You are allowed. Speak on it.
See, that's a typical response. Somebody hears what's normal is for a podcast partnership to allow the guy who is, this is probably a very female-driven audience. You bring in a lot of females. I bring in a lot of females.
No,
There's probably no
don't.
guys watching this.
I feel like
If you're a guy watching this, comment something mean about Esther.
No, don't do that. I'm sick of seeing that because there was one episode where I was looking at the comments and they all say Esther sucks. And I was like, these people don't even know how to talk.
Now, are you
And
saying that's a normal comment or a typical comment?
I don't know. I wasn't saying normal or typical. I'm just saying I saw them. And then I was like, all these people hate me. And then I'm like, no, they're just saying what Rick told them to say. So
say something nice about Esther if you're a female. Say something mean if you're a male.
No.
Fine. Say something nice if you're a male. And if you're a
No,
female,
why
also say something nice.
Why?
Why don't you just type something so we get some action?
Well, let's give them something specific to say.
Okay.
How about this? Vote for typical or normal?
No, but they both have a place.
But people should vote.
Typical is about the numbers. Normal is about the comparison and the judgment.
Typical, normal, or both. Typical, normal, or
if I
both.
say, it's not typical to start a podcast with Esther dancing. That's like, that doesn't happen too often. If I say it's not normal, that sounds like, that's kind of a judgment. It's not normal to start a podcast like that. Oh, maybe we shouldn't have done it.
But you could also say it's not normally what we do. But we did it.
Yeah, normally what we do is a comparison to what we do. Like typically. We'll be right back. This episode is sponsored by HelloFresh. Feel like you would like a wholesome homemade meal, but there's just not enough time? With HelloFresh, all you need is 15 minutes, and you'll be enjoying a tasty, satisfying meal made in your own kitchen. How do I know? I've done it. I've gotten the box. I've opened it up. Now, I'll be honest with you. I don't eat the sour creams and the cheeses, but chances are you like cheese because you're a human. I know, Esther. You like cheese, too. Just look for the quick and easy dinner options, plus they have lunch and breakfast, too. When life gets busy, don't always call delivery. Get HelloFresh. It's 25% cheaper than takeout and less expensive than grocery shopping, too. Just choose your recipes and receive fresh, pre-portioned ingredients so you could get to cooking quickly. When I find something I'm able to eat, I have it sent to me. I make it. It's fun. Go to HelloFresh.com/50HAT and use code 50HAT for 50% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/50HAT and use code 50HAT for 50% off plus free shipping. Listen, if you've been thinking about HelloFresh, give it a go. I've used it. I use it. It is delicious. And plus, hey, you'd be supporting the podcast a little bit. Back to the episode.
I do have a question for you since we've been here in New York. So you don't take the subway?
I take the train sometimes.
Oh, you do?
I did yesterday. Yeah. The trains are air conditioned. The stations are not.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been so hot.
I know.
And I'm just like, we talked about this on one of our episodes about Ubering. I'm just like, I don't leave my place much.
Yeah.
Here I am. I'm in New York now. Again, arms tired.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm going to do what I can to make myself most comfortable. I got no problem taking the train if I walk down and the train shows up.
Yeah.
I get on. There is a seat and no dicks are around.
Like no penises?
Just no mean people typically.
Oh, okay.
Yes, penises.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't love it. I used to love taking the train. Like it was actually a fun thing to do, not willing.
Wait, isn't trains like a big thing for autistic people?
Being like having a very like a narrow focus and a passion about a thing often is, and that could be trains, that could be collectible cards, that could be presidents and vice president, like whatever it is a focus.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know if it's a trope that it's trains, or maybe a lot of people with those types of minds also are into engineering, and trains is kind of like a fun play version of that. Because I that does clock to me, like, oh, autistic people love trains.
Yeah, I don't really understand.
Also,
it.
it's a way of playing with them. Like, they don't need another person.
They don't. What do you mean? They don't. Oh, like oh.
Like if there is a typical type of person versus an atypical type of person.
Okay.
Not normal. I don't think that autistic people are not normal. I just think they're atypical. Right.
Okay.
Because normal is a judgment.
Mm-hmm. Atypical doesn't sound too nice either.
But that's your judgment.
It is mine.
But by definition, it's just not typical.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Typical is statistically, and I'm not defining this, I'm sure there's a better definition, but the way I see it in broad stroke is more than 50%. More than half is typical.
Were you just basically getting at that people with autism like tend to play by themselves?
People with autism more typically than
I hate that
others
word today.
You're
just getting
socialize
off.
and communicate differently.
Yeah.
So if there's 100 people
Atypically?
and 90% of them interact a certain way and 10% of them don't, if you're not one of those 90%, socializing might be more of a challenge. So if you could find things to either be engaged with that you're passionate about that doesn't necessarily involve somebody else,
you can really deep dive in because okay. Well, because I, as we all know, played by myself as a child.
Not by choice.
That's right. That's correct.
You know what? It seems like from a young age you learned that maybe the only way Esther could fit in is if she doesn't show up.
Maybe there could be something to that, but I didn't really. I don't know. That to me is more just there's 3 adults in this house and they don't really want to deal with me.
Well, now Dave and his adult friends, you may fear don't want to deal with you.
Yeah, no, I'm open to this.
But you, one, that's not fair to them. You're choosing what they get to and get not to deal with. And more so, it's not fair to you, Esther, because you don't get to show up.
It's so hard for me not to think about like that there's people that are just, there must be people that are just happy to have like someone quiet.
Yes.
Also, wait, another thing, even though we're jumping around, but this is important too. Like, do you ever feel like because your job is podcasting and performing, that then when you're in a social situation, it is kind of nice to just be quiet and observe because you've had to like talk and we socialize as part of our job. So do you know what I'm saying? Are you getting, okay, stop talking and then can you respond now?
Sure.
Do you get it?
I do.
What are your thoughts?
This podcast so far, for example, is very low energy and I don't feel performative.
This episode or?
This right now. Yeah. I don't feel performative. That's not because of any reason other than the energy I'm in and the conversation we're having. I could get off stage and then be in a very silly mood and want to keep going. I could get off stage and feel like I gave it. I just kind of want to chill. Both exist. I seek relationships and activities that fill me up, right? And if I'm drained, sometimes the thing that fills me up and recharges me is a lot of the time actually solitude, watching something, my own thing, right? I also know that like going to Disneyland with some of my best friends and my family and being energetic and playing and joking also fills me up.
Yeah, that's true. My best friend my imaginary friend who you met when you first walked in, she just got to New York and
How are her arms?
They do appear tired. She energizes me for sure. I get playful and fun and like, yeah.
So there are times when you show up, when one shows up where it's appropriate, like if you're in a new writer's room or a new situation, or if you're the guest of your husband, boyfriend, fiance, partner, lover, where it's like, these are his people. I'm going to be kind of calm and feel it out. Like that strategy absolutely makes sense. But that isn't to define who you are now with these people for all moving forward.
Right.
And I do find that masking, even when it's appropriate, is draining. And sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes, listen, it's draining, but you're going to your boss's, party, or you're meeting your partner's parents, or whatever. It's appropriate to do that. But in order to do something that's draining, it's almost like money, right? Like, this costs money. You want to make money, but also there are times you buy things with money. But in order to do that, you have to have the money. So like, if you're going into a situation where you're already drained and you haven't, done whatever that is, meditating, whatever soothing you need to do, and you don't have a full meter, it's going to be tough. So when you show up someplace, relax, I know what I'm getting into, I need to mask, it could drain you some, but that's finite. We only have so much energy.
Have you ever been in situations where, like, and this doesn't happen as much post-COVID, but like where you have to go to events that are like business related, and then that can be so draining, and I'm like, why is this draining? Like, this should be fun. This is like my passion, my love, but it's draining because I feel like I almost have to be well behaved.
May I talk to you the way I speak, and could you try and be aware of a little bit being kinder on the judgment of what I'm about to say? Just keep that in mind.
Okay.
I'm a big
sorry.
Play is fine, but when you go like, what the fuck are you talking about? Typical, normal, you fucking cock. It's like, all right, Esther, chill, because like I'm like having a conversation with you. I'm a big believer in the words and language that we use, and even the idea of you saying we should be enjoying this. This is our passion. This is our dream. Even that, I think, isn't self-serving, and like, why should you? You could have gratitude for it and be appreciative of it. It doesn't mean you should. And if we talked about this, I think it was last episode, about me not just doing the things I want to do, when it was like the how you doings and the shaking hands and the meeting people all the time. Like, there are times where we do stuff that we don't want to do.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I say is draining. And you could do that sometimes, but I pick and choose what I spend my money on, right?
Yeah.
And like, I have an actual literal analogy to money, because I was doing money to energy being drained. But like, for example, taking the train. Yeah, that's fine. Sitting in the heat will drain me. So I will literally spend money on the Uber because I do other things that drain me. Like comfort is something that fills me.
Yeah, I get that.
So like, if there's an event that you don't want to go to, right? There is no should go to it. If there's a reason to go to it, meaning like, if you like, you're showing up for somebody that needs you to show up, right? Like, it's about them, as opposed to some like Emmys after party where it's like mingling and rubbing elbows and show people there. Like, who gives a shit? But if it's like, hey, our premiere is, like coming to a premiere would be a good example. Like, if you don't show up, your castmates, the writers will be like, why didn't? So that's something that I more understand you should go to.
Yeah.
But
that's kind of what I'm referring to.
But how many of those do you have a year? 2?
No,
1?
not a lot. It's a rare thing, but I am just saying it is an example. It is a weird feeling to be at a party and it's like not a fun thing, and it's draining, and I feel like it has become such a societal norm, at least in my like bubble of whatever it is, where it's like parties and events are a bad thing. They're not fun. They're work. I
don't know, man. You said the same thing about Disneyland. You might be going with the wrong people or the wrong mindset.
I do think it's two separate.
I'm open to this. I hope you are as well, this debate, because sure, they are different, but at the same time, I go to premiere stuff or events that relatively should be going to a lot of the time with David Sullivan. It's always good to have a friend there and to enjoy the fun stuff and and dance and just like, I have fun. And at a thing where I normally wouldn't. Remember we did that show in New York last time I was here, and we hadn't seen each other in months. And then we saw each other we didn't even say anything. Music was playing. You walked over to me. And we were going to like say hello, but instead we did a little spin and I dipped you as a dance and we laughed.
Yeah.
Going to a show a lot of the times and then waiting and not knowing, and like, you're not in the mood to do it or whatever. Yeah. It's like, but you showed up, we did a funny thing, we laughed. That changes everything. By the way, I was fine there at the time too, but I'm just, as an example, just like, who you're with is both the person you're with and also the mindset that they help you tap into.
Okay, that is very true. And I definitely do recall learning that lesson, oddly enough, when I spent the summer in New York after my freshman year of college and I did this dance internship. And like the first 2 weeks I was so depressed and miserable. And then once I like built a group of friends and like we all just got really close, the rest of the time was so much fun. And I walked away from that experience being like, oh, people are everything. Who you're with is everything. And that's like so fun. But I do think that is sort of a separate thing, because I could go to an event with Dave even, and there's also like friends and castmates too, where we're all just like, ugh, we're at this stupid thing where we have to like say hi to people, and you know, or even
But also, I just want to connect to what I was saying last week's episode, where you have to say hi to people. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Whether it's at a party or after a show or on the street or meeting friends anywhere, friends, like meeting people could be exciting. Having to meet people and to go through the dance, that's why it's important to find ways.
I both agree with you, and I also at the same time feel it's a little bit like giving like toxic positivity, where it's like, yes, that's true, I should be happy to meet people and I should want to go to the gym.
I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying when like the saying the how you doing and the shaking hands and you from Los Angeles. It's, you know, have you been to the new Rams stadium, by the way? It's like, what are we doing? I don't know you. I don't want to have this conversation. I'm saying the opposite. I don't want to do that. So the having to meet people is what I'm saying I don't subscribe to unless it's work.
Oh, yeah.
Like the socializing and the blah, 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 blah. That's why, for better and for worse, I've developed way too many bits. So when someone where was I? I'm not going to say who the person is just because it doesn't matter. I was at the Laugh Factory, and a comedian friend of, I think ours, mine, I don't see him too often, but I like him. I do. He comes up to me and he's like, hey, I saw the blah, 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 da, 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 da. I was a little stoned, okay, and I was in a silly mood. And how's blah, 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 blah? He goes, I said to him, I am in bit mode. I cannot do what you're doing right now.
What? Okay. He was being like having a
He
real
was being,
conversation.
imagine you, bless you.
Thank you.
What is that? Imagine, bless you. Cindy's on the truth. You're doing this, right? You're dancing and there's music playing.
Oh, yeah.
And then somebody comes up to you and goes, hey, how have you been? How's everything?
It's like, not now.
Yeah, but you have to, or you're supposed to be like, good, how are you? What I'm saying is, no, I go kindly, hey man, I get it. I'm not there. I'm doing bits.
I love that.
Or I'm out.
That is where I start to be like, oh, I'm inspired by the way you move through the world.
So,
and I want to adopt
when you're
do.
supposed to do things and you have to do things, those things do exist. And do those things then. But don't be mistaken with what is societally polite and what we think we're supposed to do with actual things. And what I'm saying is, if you go to a premiere or a work party and you're meeting people, you should, hello, nice to meet you. You should do the mingling, blah, 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 blah. But there's a lot of times where I believe people feel that they should be doing that and they're just draining themselves.
Yeah.
And you don't have to.
And I do feel like there's instances where
and you would like Disneyland or these parties more if you got to show up authentically, not masking, do the thing you like to do, and inevitably people will not like you. They will not like you.
Yeah.
Guilty, they will not like you. But also a lot of people won't like the person that's wearing the mask.
Right.
But at least you're not drained at the end of it.
I wanted to also acknowledge that, like, sometimes I do go out and it's fun, and I'm not always like mopey Esther, but I do feel that there is this trend. Again, like, parties have a negative connotation, and I would like to change that. It's like,
but
and it's also, it's
what's the negative connotation?
I mean,
because it's cool to not want to be part of something.
Like, literally, I feel like 80% of the people on the internet are like, they'd rather be at home in bed. Like, that's like the culture now.
That's
people want to be home bed rotting. They do on their tablets. I love tablet time in bed alone.
Yes, it recharges you. I love alone time watching TV shows and movies. Absolutely. But it doesn't mean that socializing in Disneyland or events with friends is a negative thing.
True.
The point is, it is draining. It's just how much does it drain you? And also, are there beats within these things that also fill you up?
Yes. Okay, wait. Also, I'm finding now too, I think what's coming up is like I have gotten into the habit of viewing socializing.
Back in the habit. Sister Act. Go on.
Viewing socializing as like
Work.
not as work or just not as good as being in bed.
Okay.
On my tablet.
Okay. Let's not compare being at home alone and or tablet, TV, reading, whatever, versus out, because there's pros and cons to both, right? We're just talking about the out thing and how could we make this better? Because sometimes Dave is going to want you to go out with his friends. Sometimes you're going to have to go to work things. Sometimes you're lonely. Sometimes there's friends that you haven't connected with in a while and you don't want to be in bed with all your friends in a tablet.
Wait, I have a question.
Esther.
Do you ever have a thing? Okay, I need to know.
I have so many things.
Okay, do you ever have like a fun friend thing on the books, like dinner
FFT?
Tonight? Yeah, exactly. Like
Yes, that you're excited about and then you're not when it comes.
Yes,
Of course.
and then you're like dreading it the whole day,
So-
and then you're like, "What's my problem? This only exists for me to have fun."
This is where David Sullivan has helped me.
Okay.
I have a ridiculous analogy and it's sexual, but it's right on board.
God.
Esther, I want to just cut to a montage of you on Trash Tuesday with all the vile shit you say. It's insane that you're saying, oh God, to me just saying sexual. I'm literally setting expectations in a way where I'm trying to dip my toe in and be fair.
Okay, let's hear it.
You're so judgmental, and that's okay. That's okay. We each have our thing. I berate you in a funny, lovable way, and you're judgmental in an unlikable, draining way. But you know what? I show up and I find ways of not masking to make money.
I love that.
Here's my sexual analogy. Okay.
Even the way you say it, you're like sexual.
You've said, never on this podcast that I could remember, but you said the other day when you, me, and my girl went to Back to the Future, and you said, and we met up with Campanelli, who we wanted to bring on this, but we didn't because we're like, we talked about him last week, and then we saw him like, come on the podcast, but neither one of us reached out and told him when.
I was waiting
But
for you.
I said something, and you're like, somebody said that makes a lot of sense, and you said Rick has a really good way of saying things very clearly and like directly where it makes sense. Like you complimented me off camera.
But I do agree. I still.
So I'm saying clearly, I have a sexual analogy that is spot on to what I'm going to say.
Okay, I'm willing to hear it out.
Oh! Is this blurry? I masturbated before Let me just be an adult, dude. We're having a real conversation.
It's just so weird. It's actually funny to me. Like, I don't even think of you. Like, you.
Every sentence you say has some type of treat in it.
Treat?
Yes, this one was donut. Go ahead. That's what our podcast should be called, Dough and a Nut.
Ice scone. Cupcake.
Okay, worst improv. Just the game, you know? I scream every time you say something I don't like, you know?
Scream?
I scream. You're so smart.
I think the category was pastry, though.
Okay. Well, your nipples are showing. Maybe put pastry over your...
They're not. It's just the shirt.
It's a pasty. Hey, can I tell my masturbating analogy?
Yeah, but honestly, I just wanted to clarify that for some reason, I was actually so thrown off when you said you masturbating, because that's like literally not sex or sexual.
Oh.
It's just like, it's like...
What I'm saying wasn't sexual for me at the time, because what I was going to say is I was masturbating before I knew it was sexual.
Wait. Sorry, I have more, and I want to get to what you're going to say, I swear. But like, literally, it's so, like, it feels like you're like the, like, health ed teacher when you say the word masturbate.
Yes, I'm trying to be very direct and clinical with this. I'm not trying to make it sexual. That's what I'm saying.
I just feel like me and my cohorts, like we would just say like jerking off. Like,
Yes, but if I said that, you would go, oh, Rick, you're so ugly. When you take your glasses off, you're even uglier. I don't like you, you fucking coward. You're a fucking coward. How dare you say jerk off? Don't you talk about your fucking dick to me. If you ever mention your dick to me again, so help me Christ, I'll fucking vomit. That's what you do. So I have to be like, Esther, I have an analogy. It's a little sexual. And even then you go, why don't you just say rub your fucking dirty clit? Because you could say whatever you want, but not me. You know why? Because I'm atypical.
I'm literally gonna throw up. It's so.
Imagine if I said jerking off to you without you suggesting me saying that first. In the first episode that we did of the OG Rick and Esther Have a Time, I made a joke where I went about jerking off, and
That
you
was about
lost your
blowjobs.
fucking mind.
No, it's worse about blowjobs.
Swipe to it. And you know what she said?
What? That's so gross.
What? You don't know what I was doing.
What were you doing?
She was sucking me off.
That's so no.
I'm kidding, Esther.
But it's
I'm so sorry. You're
gross.
right. You can't do that anymore. I'm
gross.
so sorry. Can I try again?
I'm grossed out. You always have to bring up that.
Could I try it again?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to now. I was going to do another thing, and you honestly are affected by me joking about that.
Yeah.
And
girls don't like that.
Then get upset. What the fuck? I'm joking.
But also, it's so funny, like the way you see me in that little monologue you just did. I'm like this, like, it's so good. Oh my God, wow. Honestly, I feel like I just laughed so hard.
Did it drain you or fill you up?
You actually like added years to my life.
See, sometimes being at home on your tablet jerking off, isn't the only way you could get filled up. Dave could be home and fill you up as well. With jokes.
Yeah.
Which is what we call our partners come. So, when I was a child, I used to jerk off. And I didn't know I was jerking off. It was before I was into girls. I discovered by putting my wiener. I'm sorry, should I say hog? Do you identify with hogs better than wieners? I'm sure you do.
I need to think about what I would want you to use.
Sure. Yeah. Isn't it interesting that even while you're working on not masking yourself, you're trying to control how I show up for you?
Penile stick.
My penile stick? Man, you're either dirty or you refer to genitalia as something you would get from the Olive Garden Unlimited. You even want to see penises as a breadstick. So.
Okay, keep going, please.
Oh, sure, I'll try. You know the shower. Oh, you don't know the shower. Let me try to explain. Typically,
bath.
Yeah. So a bath. The water comes down from the spout down here, as opposed to pulling the thing. Or in some hotels, you have to figure out how do you get it from the water down here to here. But the water coming down this thing, where the pressure is more, it's coming fast. I found it hit my penis at some point.
The water.
I probably put my penis up to it because I was curious. I don't remember the origin story of this, but I assure you, if it was a musical, it would still be penile stick in bath, no matter how they did it.
Okay, I
Man,
don't.
I really carry this thing, don't I? So.
But you need me.
No.
That's fine.
I chose you. So
Right.
I noticed that when I put my penis up against my penile stick, up against the pressure of the water, it started to feel good.
Oh, this is like
Oh,
so.
Jesus. All right, then never mind. Forget it. Forget it.
I'm sorry. Let me. Let me please. I have to be allowed to respond. I just think it's like yucky.
You're not here. You know what, Esther? Would you prefer if I lit this in the Sanderson Sisters show? Because if the Sanderson Sisters show, that would mean I'm a virgin. Would you rather me be a virgin? It's a good call. Looks like it.
Wait, I do really like. Come, little children.
Come
I'll
take
you
thee away into the arms of enchantment. You know, I was watching They Came Together. Could I say that? And
what is that?
the Sex and the City new show.
It's called And Just Like That.
Oh, They Came Together is an amazing David Wayne movie with Paul Rudd and Amy Poehler. Do you know that movie?
No.
Oh, you don't like comedies that didn't come out within the past 2 years. Well, it's a movie where they're just making fun of rom-coms. I'm just going to suggest a movie. It's called They Came Together. It's incredible.
Why did you...
They came together and just like that. They came together and just like that. I don't know.
Okay.
They came together and just like that. Similar.
Okay, I do just want to say, like...
But Carrie was walking around during a Halloween episode and there were witches. And I was thinking like, is she thinking Sanderson sisters?
Ooh, that's cool.
Thank you. What were you going to say?
Well,
How are you going to interrupt? I mean,
off of that, one time Kathy Najimy played my mom in a TV show in an episode of a show I was on, and that made me feel like I was, for just one moment in time, a daughter of a Sanderson sister.
you know, that's her. That also sounded like a witch laugh. Also, she's in Sister Act.
Oh. And Dave is scared of witches, so
It's funny. It's kind of like how Batman's afraid of bats, so he became one. Maybe that's why he's interested in you.
No. I have to.
Witch?
I love witchery, and I want to be a witch, but I have to really suppress. I do have to suppress the part of me that wants to be a witch because Dave is really scared of them.
So I used to masturbate before I knew it was masturbating. Before I would ejaculate. What do you want me to say? Spew cum?
I want you to know that I want to hear this.
Then let me just say it because let me just say it. Let me just say the thing.
Say it. Okay, say it.
Because it actually, I really think that you could connect with this.
Okay, I know I'm going to be able to.
Then shut the fuck up.
Okay.
Now, when I was a little boy, putting my penis in the bath water, I would leave it there for a while. I wouldn't get hard. It was prepubescent. I'm 8. I'm making this number up. 7, 8, 9. And I would leave it there for a while because I found that it would start to feel better and better. Forget it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not honestly.
No, I was being quiet.
I'm not going to say it. I am going to give it one more chance.
Okay.
One more chance.
Tell me what to do.
Yeah. Stop judging.
Okay. It's not that. It's not you.
No, of course it's not me.
Okay.
Let me tell you this thing that you're saying you want to hear and that I still for some reason want to share.
Okay.
And if this happens again, I'm not going to continue it.
Okay, I am gonna put my hat down and look down because it's not my fault I have the giggles.
I don't need you to explain. Have the giggles. Laugh.
Okay.
But you're not laughing. You're being shitty.
Okay, tell.
When I was a 7 or 8-year-old boy, I would put my cock in the bathwater. And as the pressure of the bathwater would tip over the helmet of my meaty penis, it would start to feel good. It would even get a little red. It wouldn't get hard. I was prepubescent. No ejaculate was happening even. And as it was feeling good and feeling better and better and better, it would get to the point that I now know was a climax, an orgasm. I had an orgasm. I gave myself an orgasm as a little boy. But I didn't know it was sexual. It's just something that felt good, like a massage. But something interesting happened. Right when I was done, I thought to myself, I don't want to do this anymore. So days would go by and I was going to take a bath and I thought to myself, I want to do that thing that feels good. And I said to myself, Rick, you're going to do it. It's going to feel good. And then you're not going to want to do it anymore. But I'm telling you, trust me, remember this feeling. You're going to want to do it again. But sure enough, I would go into the bath as a little boy. I would rip out my fucking cock and I would put it under the streaming bath water so it would go over my meat helmet until it would feel good until I came to climax. And sure enough, I didn't want to do it again. That now, as we know, as an adult, a lot of times when a male fucks and comes, sometimes he wants to go again soon thereafter, maybe every now and then even right away. But typically, right after climax, you're not in the mood to do it again right now. Now, here's my analogy. That doesn't mean it wasn't a good time. So before I would come, I would be like, trust me, you want to come when I was a little boy. And then after, you don't. So here's what I'm saying. It's a good time when you're so drained, what the analogy would be post-cum, you think, oh, I don't want to go to the party. Come. But tell yourself, listen, this is a good thing. You're going to enjoy it. Trust me. I know you're at home now and you think you don't, but once you're out, now what Sullivan would say is, I'm back now to the non-sexual part, so you can put your head down.
Okay.
So I'm not done. You fucking bleep that. I'm not done. So what Sullivan has reminded me and almost forced me, like, Rick, when we did this and this, didn't you have a good time? Yeah. It seems like you don't want to right now, but I'm telling you, you will have a good time. So a lot of times I know I'll go home, I'll go and I'll do the thing, and I'm out and like, you know what, this was fun.
Yeah.
And then I get home and then I feel even better, like I fucking love being home.
Hell
and I would have
yeah.
loved if I didn't leave. But we went to the show, we had a good time. And then when I got home, I had food. We were just like, my girl and I, we were like watching something. They came together. And it was just like, I could have had a great time staying home the whole night.
Yeah.
But we had a great time at that show.
True.
And now we're home, and I even appreciate being home. Now I have my inside clothes on. We're eating. We're doing our thing. I didn't have to go out, and I don't want to do that all the time. But you have to sometimes tell yourself when you're in your hotel room or when you're in home, hey, go out. It's kind of like going to the gym, right? Like showing up. Last one. Last one. Showing up. Once you're at the gym, you're like, all right, I could do this. It's putting the clothes on and getting there. That's the hard thing.
Literally this whole time I've been sitting here thinking like the easier analogy would have just been working out, and you didn't need to do the whole like meat stick thing. That like little boy pleasuring himself in water. Like we could have circumvented that whole.
Pun intended?
Yes.
What was the pun?
Come.
No.
Circ. Cision.
There you go. It sounded like you forgot what it was called.
Cision.
Cision? So.
Or like.
So I could have just not had the thing that apparently you think some guys watch this that they could relate to. Like, I remember when I was little boys are always playing with their willies.
Fair. No. I don't. I'm so happy it happened the way it did. But I also think like
happy, but
can I give my version of my analogy?
Yeah, when you used to play with your bean?
No, ew, no.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jerk off? Is that better?
Yes. My analogy would be like, let's say I'm looking at a menu.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I can either get like
all of it.
Yeah, I'm looking at my DoorDash app, and I can either get my favorite pasta bolognese, maybe even like, you know, throw in a side of bread, whatever it is, or I could get like
you mean a penile stick?
A penile stick with butter, or I could get a salad with chicken and cheese and egg and like all these really hearty ingredients, and be like, Esther, like, get this. You know where this is going.
Yeah, I oftentimes will order something and say, I want to eat for what will I be glad that I ate a half hour after I ate it.
Oh, that's a really good
one.
I
think sometimes, and this is all the same shit. I practice this, and it's not all the time, but a lot of times because instant gratification is obviously just that. And thinking, what do you want 5 years from now sometimes could be tough. I will sometimes be like, what will Rick in an hour, in a half hour, tonight, in the morning, how will he feel with the decision I'm making now?
Yeah, no, that's a good life hack. If you can actually pull that off, that's really good.
But in order to do that, you have to educate yourself with, well, I don't know what Rick will feel like 45 minutes from now after I eat this thing that I've never eaten. That's why you have to try things, and you have to fill your meter up enough to where you could afford to drain it. I don't know what it's going to be like to go to the Back to the Future musical, but I do know what it's like to going to musicals.
Yeah.
And I know even if it's not the best musical, I'm going to enjoy it.
Did you know that? Okay, so I don't like trying new things at all.
Same.
And I recently learned that that's like our brain's way of protecting ourselves.
Of course.
Because
adapting is hard.
We know what we've done before is safe, so we can do it. And
arguably, even if you know something isn't safe, but you know what it is, sometimes you will choose that. For example, being in a toxic relationship, and you're just,
or like dirty sex. A lot of guys I know, they'll like have dirt. Like,
by dirty, do you mean like the way they have sex, or you mean like unprotected?
Like, one of my friends was just telling me about a guy friend of his.
Are you about to tell me about dirty sex right before you blow your nose? Is that what dirty sex is?
For me.
Like you jerking somebody off right after you blow your nose and not wash your hands?
No, like we have allergies mid-sex. And then it's not. Look, it doesn't.
What's dirty sex? What are you saying?
My friend was saying like he has a friend who takes really good care of himself physically. Like he's in the gym, he's eating right, he's got a great bod, all this stuff. But
was he talking about me?
Well, listen. Then when night falls, he will literally have sex with anyone unprotected style, and like,
which is similar to Esther style or Gangnam style from earlier.
So.
Go ahead, pick.
So,
Pick your fucking nose.
okay. Anyway.
Didn't sound like anything came out.
Oh,
Did anything come out?
no. It just kind of loosened what was already out.
Kind of like stretching before the big blow.
But anyways, I thought what made me think of that was when you said, sometimes people will choose an unsafe thing.
Yeah.
Which is because
I think they're just weighing their pros and cons.
Yeah.
And they like the way it feels to have sex without a condom more than the safety of them and the other person.
Yeah.
I'm not for me. You know what my perfect first date is?
First? What's a first? Is that before
First
or
date,
after first?
First date.
Oh, okay.
STD clinic.
Wait, really?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Would you like to go get checked?
Is this a first date?
Mhm.
No.
You know what I like to do on a second date?
What?
Musical. And I know we could have unprotected sex after this now. As long as you wait 3 days or so.
That is a weird thing that guys have to go to the STD clinic because girls, we just are gynecologists.
Oh, shit.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
This podcast is over. I
Guy
just
with
spilled a little
OCD
coffee.
got a drip of coffee on his white shirt. It is over, isn't it?
I'm not happy about it. I'll be spraying it as soon as I get back. I don't really go to an STD clinic. I just go to my doctor. I'm there all the time anyway. Sometimes I'm walking by and go, I'll come in for some blood work.
I love a good doctor's visit.
So, in conclusion,
Good essay. Last paragraph.
I
I went to school.
know.
Yeah.
The idea of masking is a tool that is beneficial and sometimes necessary.
Okay.
But I believe that many people could lean into it for reasons that don't service them. For example, they feel safe in doing that thing, like what we were just talking about. Like, well, I know an hour from now or tonight when we get home, I'll be glad that I didn't make any choices, that I didn't, but I wasn't annoying, or the actress or whatever it is. But what that's also doing is conditioning you to not be who you are. And
What
that
if
will
though-
also make you want to stay home with
Yeah.
your thing more, because the alternative is, here I am filling myself back up. Here would be draining myself for something that's not worth it. But you're conditioning yourself for Disneyland, for parties with Dave, for social interactions to not be worth it because you are more concerned with how they're going to see you than you enjoying yourself.
Yeah, that's so real. Like, a couple things are coming up. One is just like, even the best social life in the world, nothing beats tablet time in bed for me personally. But I did also read this study recently, like, and it's so obvious, but like staying at home versus going on a hike with friends, you will obviously feel much better after the hike with friends than choosing to stay home.
For two reasons.
The hike and but I'm just saying, like, that was weirdly not that obvious to me until I read that. But once I read that, I was like, oh, duh.
Well, that's what I was saying about, like, you, in order to say what will future me feel and want, you need to get that data. Two ways to get that. One is to actually experience those things. For example, I go to musicals. I don't know the variable of Back to the Future, but I know enough to have a fair deduction that I will have a good time at this thing, right? Also, with you, with my girl, like, there's so many variables that I have experienced. And then the other version of that, which is the work, more like actual work. People say I'm working on myself, and then it just means like, oh, I know I'm growing, but are you actually working? What steps are you taking? And that is analyzing and recognizing patterns and things. And what that means is going on the hike, that is a step. Oh, look, I was told to go on this hike, it'll feel better. That was great. But that's not sustainable, because it's like, oh, I should eat well. You eat well until you don't, and then, I don't want to do that anymore. You're not analyzing the thing. So when you go on the hike, or whatever that version is, you actually need to have a conversation with yourself saying, okay, yes, I felt better, but remember this. Going on the hike with my friends actually made me feel good.
Yeah.
So when I'm in a position to where I feel disconnected from people, I feel lonely, I feel uninspired, I feel lethargic, I feel tired, whatever the negative feelings are that helped with, remember that so you could parent yourself. So next time, sometimes I do not like going places and doing things. I'll be at home and I'll check in with myself that I'm feeling disconnected, and I'll do something that I don't want to do. I'll call a friend. I know I'll have a good time. I like the friend, but I'll call a friend and be like, hey, do you want to go for a walk and get a coffee or something? I don't want to.
In AA or like, those 12-step programs, that's called opposite action, where it's like you just do the thing you don't want to do. So it's like, I don't want to get out of bed. Opposite action, get out of bed.
That I don't know that. I like that because it's checking like, oh, you're protecting yourself in a way that is clearly you're not feeling any better, so switch that choice.
Yes.
But also clock the you could be even more specific, because I don't want to get out of bed, so I get out of bed. But then what are you doing out of bed? Clock the things that make you feel good.
Yeah.
I know people in my life that fill me up. I know these people make me feel good. I know that being in the sun makes me feel good. So there are times where I'm like, I don't feel good, and I know exactly what to do. Go call this person. Go do this thing. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't want to. I'm feeling anxious at 3 a.m, and I don't want to go to bed because I don't want to brush my teeth and wash my face yet. Go do it.
Have you really had that?
Oh my gosh. There are so many times where I'm exhausted, but I can't get in bed until I wash up. So I'm like, I'll watch one more episode. I'll watch one more episode. And now it's 5 a.m. I feel, if I don't feel good at 3 because I'm tired, I'm not going to feel better at 5.
Wait, so I literally, if I have that, I just won't brush my teeth.
That's the difference.
Yeah. But then I'm getting more sleep than you. So
Right.
isn't mine
But
better?
It's not about better.
Okay.
It's about being able to recognize what works for yourself. I'm better at this now. What works for me is, Rick, similar to the gym. Rick, go brush your teeth and wash your face. If you want to watch another episode after that, I'll let you.
You know what my parents started doing that is literally fucking groundbreaking? I've never even heard of it. I'm like, holy shit, you guys are amazing.
They're actually eating vegetables.
They recently adopted a new habit of they get ready for bed before they sit down for the evening to watch TV.
I do that sometimes. The only problem with that is you're committing to not eating any more snacks.
Well, is that really a problem?
Yes, it's good. My dad does it, and I've done it before. Sometimes I'll be like, brush my teeth, because then if you really want the snack, you have to be like, okay, you could eat the snack, but you're gonna have to brush again. And then sometimes I'll do it, and sometimes I won't. I think it's great.
I've never actually done it, but I keep thinking about doing it.
You know what I do sometimes? I go, I'll wash my face now.
Do you wash your face every night?
Yeah.
And you don't wear makeup?
Correct.
Why though then?
Look at my face. How do I look? Be honest. How does my skin look for my age?
Good, but I don't think that's from washing.
It's not specifically from washing, it's skincare. And a lot of people ask about my skincare routine. Now, I'm only 22, so obviously genetically it's a lot easier to be this way. But I wear hats often in the sun.
Yeah, that's
sunblock.
That's why. Yeah.
And I have other skincare regimens that we could get into another time.
We should
but
do
part
like a
of it
skincare video.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
But
because I used to host a beauty and makeup and skincare podcast.
I'm curious why it didn't continue.
I think we just both got kind of busy, and it honestly was very niche. It wasn't making a lot of money. It was a very small but dedicated audience.
Maybe if you were talking about being a little boy masturbating, people would have watched it more.
That could be true. Actually, we got into a lot of trouble talking about something similar to that, but it's fine.
I'm curious too, little boys and little girls.
Yeah.
Adults, obviously only. But when you were a kid, and I've talked to my friends, guys and girls, about this, everyone has stories of like they didn't know, not everybody, but a lot of them, they didn't know it was sexual.
Wait.
It's just something that felt good.
Kalila has talked about this too. I did not have this at all. I
believe that.
What? Why?
You just didn't. Nobody would step on your pussy, I guess.
Ew.
I remember I was at a neighbor's house. We were the same age, and we would lay down on our back, on our stomachs. I remember I did this in his basement. We laid on our stomachs, and he would step on my butt or my lower back because it would press my penis into the ground. And like we would do it, be like, do that. Doesn't that feel good? And it's like, yeah, what is that? And then we stood up, we laid on our back and put pillows on our front and like kind of just where the toes pushed a little. We're out of time. But it's like, I remember as a kid, like you would push, even in movies, you see like little kids running around and like quit squeezing your penis. But I was friends with boys. At least up until we went to puberty and I didn't have friends anymore.
I can't believe I missed this whole.
Yeah, but girls too. Like they just touch themselves, and you don't know what it is. It's not an embarrassment. It's not even.
It does make me uncomfortable.
Yeah, unwhatable.
What?
That was Rick and Esther Have a Time. Tune in next week where Esther is there. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure to take care of yourself.
Thank you for making this possible.
And wash up before bed. Bye. Never once, not only have I not thought about going to the Back to the Future musical, I didn't even know there was a Back to the Future musical.
Well, that is why you need a friend like me who studies religiously what plays, what musicals, what's going on Broadway. Like, I know when and where, and this one...
You told me it was at 7 and it was at 8.
Okay, well, there's some logistical...
And you had me send you the address of the theater.